Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Stock Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. And now we've covered the X-Men books, the Spider-Man books, the miscellaneous Marvel books. It's time to pick up on the Avengers books, cosmic books, and a couple of DC books. Starting with Avengers Defenders Tarot, number 4. Where we left off in Tarot, the Avengers and the Defenders had defeated Diablo and seemingly destroyed his tarot cards. However, in doing so, the cards were, instead of being destroyed, they were all cut in two, and with different halves going to different, with different portions being affixed to different people. Combination of Hulk and Captain America, a combination of Hulk and Vision, Silver Surfer and Doctor Strange, Namor and Doctor Strange, so on and so forth. And then this team of fused heroes is attacked by a familiar foe, the Unbelievables. So we begin with Dr. Surf being woken up during the battle. The rest of the team is fighting the Unbelievables, and it's actually a pretty even match. And our Major Gamma is attacked by one of the Unbelievables, who pulls a tuft of hair off of his wrist and turns it into spectral monkeys. And he suddenly sees himself bigger in a different outfit, fighting statues in Germany, only to be back. So they begin discussing what's going on, and suddenly the words, "I'm bored, too much talking," appear in midair, followed by, "I want more fighting." Suddenly they're attacked by Black Panther, Alpha Flight, Sunfire, and various other international heroes. Black Panther leading the charge, calling the group of invaders. And he finally points and says, "Are we not? This is New York. New York with Zeppelins in the air, Nazi flags hanging from buildings, and what looks to be a statue of the Red Skull." Something happens with Major Gamma, however, and he starts to briefly resemble Captain America more. Diablo tries to explain what's going on and how to fix it pops up, but once again, the Unbelievables arrive, along with others, including the Kree, the Skrulls, Captain Britain, Nova, Squadron Supreme, Spider-Ham, the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, the X-Men, everyone. The battle is joined, but it seems to be going more along the lines of a barroom brawl, where no one really knows who's on whose side. Then the truth of the tarot cards is revealed, and the magical ink. And then at the center of all is two children. However, suddenly the Nameless One appears, and the team begins facing off with him. However, Dr. Surf has another idea. And so our heroes get the cards, and suddenly all is back as it should be. Everyone is restored to normal. The mansion is undamaged, as though nothing ever happened. The memories of the event are also rather hazy. And so the Defenders and the Avengers go into the mansion. We have a brief flashback at the end to World War II, where the invaders arrive at a camp, and the Allied troops inform them that the only enemy contact they had all day was a deserter, a Private Anton Occult. They found him wandering in the forest near frozen to death. No weapons, just a paintbrush. So they're looking for some magic ink. And so the story ends. Moving on to Falcon and Winter Soldier #2. Where we left off, a government office had been massacred, and a recruit from a recruit along the same lines as Winter Soldier was this one known as the Natural was responsible, and it also turns out that he's part of a resurging Hydra, and only the Falcon and the Winter Soldier are poised to stop it. Oh, and the Natural knocked the crap out of Winter Soldier and Falcon. So the issue begins with our two heroes coming to. Winter Soldier's contact is missing, not dead, just missing. And they learn, but they already know that we're supposed to be a train to get to. So they get on the train, and in the first passenger car, they're attacked by everyone, because everyone on the train is apparently Hydra. This continues on car by car. The final car, however, at the final car they burst in and discover Baron Zemo, not as dead as everyone was led to believe. And turns out that Hydra is in the midst of a power struggle again. Zemo wants Hydra's resurgence to be subtle and, whereas his opponent, the other side, well, they want something much more grand. And Zemo also wants to recruit the Natural for his own side. In the end, Zemo sends Winter Soldier and Falcon to the Natural's parents in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Turns out they are huge Captain America fans, to the point of cosplaying. And that's where the issue ends. Moving on to ForceWorks 2020 #2. Where we left off, well, things were not looking that great for ForceWorks. They had, while attempting to rescue Mockingbird, War Machine, Quake, and U.S. Agent were, they were actually rescued by Mockingbird, but it turns out there was a worse threat about. Deathlocks. And the Deathlocks manage to take down our heroes. The issue begins with the team being dragged through the jungles of Lingares. And Quake notices the fact there are some rather large footprints of the jungle. Very large. Like, 20 plus feet. Turns out, though, that the Deathlocks are farming those who are not yet turned into Deathlocks into more Deathlocks. They show up to grab one of them, however, ForceWorks does them to back off, and so they instead of taking their initial target, they go after War Machine, who has been stripped of his armor. Quake, however, does manage to tries to pull off Earthquake, but gets knocked out of it. But something's coming. That something is revealed to be none other than Ultimo, as U.S. agent Mockingbird and Quake manage to escape. So, ForceWorks fights off the Deathlocks and Ultimo, who are fighting each other. The leader of the Deathlocks, his plan is to turn Rhodey into a Deathlock, but yeah. Rhodey gets free. Well, Rhodey is rescued, then goes and basically brings everyone's gear to them, and then, however, Ultimo managed to run off the Deathlock, so he's left in pursuit. And turns out that who should end up being the one to rescue War Machine? MODOK. And that is where the issue ends. Alright. Moving on to Revenge of the Cosmic Ghost Rider number 4. Where we left off, the Cosmic King had actually managed to return Frank Castle's soul to him. Meanwhile, Cammy was stuck in a wormhole. So we begin on a planet. Cammy exits a wormhole. In the room of a couple of children who just put together a space Lego set of Ego the Living Planet. And of course, when she arrives, she completely destroys the model, but, turns out it's the Cosmic King. It's their house. It's his house. But it's before he, became, big and bad. And she realizes, Cammy is a little slinking around and listening in, and realizes that she's traveled back in time to just after Thanos was killed during Infinity Wars. However, the future Cosmic King managed to come through, and so, yeah. It hits her with one of its appendages, and she ends up getting it's revealed that the current body that the Cosmic King has, yeah, it's a ancient space demon parasite. So she gets a highlight reel of past hosts, killers and conquerors, forgotten monsters who have nothing alive to remember them, would be, but yeah, well, would be hers his eyeballs, not hers. But she was really just the bait. She was the bait for Cosmic Ghost Rider. That's the one he really. That's the host he really wants. And so she takes a jetpack, flies off into space, and into another wormhole. In the present, so to speak, Frank Castle's remembering what it's like to have a soul again. And it turns out that for the last 7 months, Cammy's been trying to get back to Skrull, and it has not been going well. But so she arrives, and just in time to see that, well, Frank has killed Cosmic King. Only for Mephisto to arrive, explaining that that soul you got was unlawfully obtained from Pandemonium, which puts you under your contract. Punisher tries to claim finders keepers because, well, he gave his soul. Mephisto lost it. Makes sense. But Mephisto says it doesn't. The deal does not explicitly state whose soul he has to take, so long as he gets a soul. And so Mephisto opts to take Cammy's soul and to hell with her. And that is where the issue ends. Moving on to Road to Empyre, the Kree Skrull War. This is honestly just a background piece on the Kree Skrull War. Its history, the actual story, and a lot of the fallout. But it's told through the Warner family from Meet the Skrulls. So the basics of the Kree Skrull War. The Skrulls used to be a peaceful race. And yes, they conquered through trade. And so one day they came to Hala, home of the Kree. Hala was home to two different races: the pink and blue skinned humanoid race, and the Kotati, who were a plant species. So the Emperor Doric I transported a party from each species to isolated moons, each armed with the best of Skrull technology. And basically, okay, so whoever has created the most with the gifts they've been given would be deemed the ruler of Hala, and the planet would then be welcomed to the Skrull Empire. The Kree made a massive city on the moon. Well, the Kotati grew a garden. Morag, the leader of the Kree, basically led an assault on first the Kotati and then the Skrulls themselves, which started the war, which lasted for millennia, and eventually made its way to Earth. There's also some background on the Celestial Madonna and the Celestial Messiah. The Celestial Madonna being Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Celestial Messiah being her son, her son with the Avenger swordsman, Koi. I think that's how you pronounce it. However, a Kree operative blows up the hotel that the Warners are staying in, and so, but they survive. They've intercepted. There's a transmission they've intercepted, but they've only managed to decrypt part of it. Then what they've managed to decrypt is "Attention Kree. This is Hulkling." And so the history of Hulkling is revealed. During the Kree-Skrull War, Mar-Vell and Princess Enel of the Skrull fell in love and had a child together. Enel gave the child to a handmaiden, who then hid the child on Earth. However, then she learned that, well, Mar-Vell had died. Mar-Vell had died of cancer, and so she raised Dorak the Eighth as her own, calling him Teddy, Theodore, telling him that his powers were a mutation. He would go on to co-found the Young Avengers. He would find love in the arms of fellow Young Avenger Wiccan. But soon enough, his lineage was revealed. But he opted to maintain allegiance to Earth. Until recently, as we saw on Incoming. There's another tale of Kree and a Skrull. Apparently, during the Dark Phoenix saga, life forms from all over the galaxy were sent to watch over the trial of the Phoenix. Raxor represented the Skrull, and Beldan the Kree. However, the two fought for months until, yeah. But it was, in the end, it was a ruse, and anyways, the Warners come upon the Kree, who destroyed the motel they were staying in, and they're about to kill a lot of them. However, one of them brings forth a communicator, activates it, and it says, "Attention all Kree and Skrull soldiers in the field. Your Emperor, Dorak the Eighth, speaking. Skrull and Kree armadas are at last joined. The collective armies of both our empires fly now as one, to face and destroy a common enemy. We fly to Earth." And for those not yet aware, Empyre is this summer's big event from Marvel Comics. And that is where the issue ends. Moving on to Legion of Superheroes number 5. Where we left off, the Science Police had shown up to basically take the Legion, well, to lock down the Legion. So we begin with the Legion facing off against the Science Police. Dr. Fate offers to freeze the dimension in place. However, Bouncing Boy says, let's see how this plays out first. And Dr. Fate kind of agrees, that's probably for the best, because he's not sure. Because Dr. Fate isn't entirely sure that he can unfreeze it. So, he only learned the first part. Brainiac ends up basically talking everything down, and calming nerves. And after the science police leave, we learn that Chameleon Boy is actually the son of Madam Honor President R.J. Brand. And he reveals that her motivation and everything is that she's scared. So Superboy learns more, this time from a different POV. But he learns more about the formation of the Legion. Which apparently was the main three were really just, how are we supposed to be, superheroes? And they recruit Block from Dryad, Brainiac 12 from the planet Kolu, and Brainiac informs them that he's just ascended to the 12th level of intellect, which brings with it a higher understanding, knowledge of the universe that has shaken him. It turns out he's kind of has an obsession with the Age of Heroes. And it's explained that the Age of Heroes holds all times, all reality, all dimensions together. Mixtures of multiversity, powers, sources, sciences, and magic, and those looking to use and abuse all of it. And it's also kind of where they got the idea to bring Superboy to the future. It's also explained that Jonathan Kent would found the United Planets. And then, before he can do anything with the information, however, an evacuation order is put out on Earth. And that's where the issue ends. And finally, last comic of the week, moving on to Basketful of Heads, number 6. Where we left off here, well, looks like Junie had managed to get the drop on Harvard Hank, and uses that axe to lop off his head, giving herself a third head in a basket. She also cut off her own thumb to avoid, slip out of a pair of handcuffs. So she takes some painkillers, bandages it up, retrieves the heads, makes a few threats, especially to Hank. And it's explained that Hamilton Orchards, the real money is not the apples, but rather, as is explained, Greenhouse C, weed. And Hamilton also tells June about how her boyfriend Liam flirted with his daughters, and they reciprocated and in fact showed him the grow house. Everyone was in on it. Also, a few years back, some guys from Boston came onto Brody Island to sell some weed. Well, the chief didn't take too kindly to that, and so they ended up arrested back up from Shawshank. But it's the kind of thing where we find out just what it is that Liam's got on Sal. And apparently Sal might have an interest in the men folk more so than the women folk. Bear in mind, early 80s, New England, not exactly the most tolerant area. So time comes for Hank to call his dad, and he explains, listen, and he says, "Oh yeah, she got me good, and I can't feel my legs, and but Dad can't help." So Junie goes on to the boat, finds Liam, but before he can rescue her, she's attacked by, of course, the sheriff. They duke it out. He knocks the axe overboard and then throws her overboard after tying her up to the anchor. And that's where the issue ends. Well, that's where that part of the issue ends. We've still got chapter 20 of Sea Dogs. And where we left off, the battle was joined by the HMS Havoc and the Spanish. However, young midshipman Harry Price has taken quite the blow, losing his foot and, well, also taking a bit of damage to his torso. And so Mr. Sanguine takes Price down to the doctor. However, the doctor explains that his wound is fatal, and there's nothing he can do to save it. However, Price now realizes that, well, he was fooled all along by Mr. Sanguine, who's actually Ms. Sanguine. And that is where the issue ends. And that's it for this week's roundup. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. Like I mentioned previously, because due to certain current events, this is going to be the last roundup for a while, because Diamond Distributors is not going to be distributing comics for the next few weeks, months. We'll find out. Once things are back on track, the roundup will return. I'll probably actually be doing a video about what's going on with that later on in the week. But yeah, as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long, rock hard, and be safe.